Hey guys, how are you? Welcome back, Shuffle and Flow, episode 3. We are at Roxanne's Bar in Long Beach, California. We have the beautiful Michael, Nathan Prevost, Aaron.
And Mr. Aaron. So we want to continue our discussion from last time about how we all got started and what motivated us to dance, why we dance, who were the supportive factors that allowed us to start dancing. And I want to ask Nathan, so you grew up in Northern California,
Yes.
north of San Francisco.
Yeah, Sonoma,
Right.
a little town called Sonoma, which now has become, a shishi wine town. But that time it was just shit kickers, hippies, artists, and farmers. Mm-hmm. And we had a very alternative lifestyle growing up. I didn't really go to a public school. I went to this, most people would think of it as a hippie school, no grades, no tests, no, smoking pot with your teachers and stuff. That's what we were doing. We would just sometimes,
How old were you?
From grade 2 to grade till I was 11. We
Smoking
didn't have
pot-
grades. so I
Smoking
don't
pot
know.
at 2? Grade 2? From
Age 8.
Yeah.
Which I don't recommend. Dad was like, I always say, it's like, I don't think you're going to school today, son.
Oh no!
We had a 60-foot hedge on the road in our garden when I was like 9 years old or 10 years old.
Hedge of
pot hedge?
Hedge of pot.
Marijuana.
That was your
It was
that was
illegal
your
back
garden
then.
hedge.
That was our garden hedge on the road. That was on Mesquite Lane or something like that.
love it.
19199 Mesquite. Anyways, we were not your typical family. I had a big brother and my mom and dad, and that was it. We lived outside a lot. We lived in the woods. We lived under tents. We lived had a parachute for a while that I had found, and it was very, very untraditional. I started working at 11 and was giving my dad rent when I lived under my parachute, paying him $30 a month, and he left. I was like, we don't even have a house.
Your dad charged you rent?
He got really mad one night, and this was right before he moved out for the first time, and I had to start giving him money, and I don't even know if my mom and my brother knew, but he was like, from now on, you want to go to the dentist, you're paying for it. You want new clothes, you're paying for it. You want
How
that
old
kind
were
of
you?
stuff. I was
11.
11.
So I got a job,
Jesus.
on the ranch where we were living, which is now, it's like a holistic healing retreat center. It's a beautiful, marvelous place called the Westerbeck Ranch, and amazing people there, and it's a legit, super, just amazing place. I could talk for 10 hours about that. But I didn't start dancing until I was 13. My mom and I were best friends, basically. And there was a class in Sonoma that was in a jazzercise studio. It was called the Dance Studio, cement floor, like you. And a brilliant, brilliant jazz dance teacher in there called Lynn Brolhante. She was my first teacher, and I could cry about her all afternoon because she means so much to me. My mom and I literally took my first dance class together. I was 13, she was 40. We became addicted first class, that was it. I called my soccer coach the next day. I said, Coach, Mr. Schlobaum, I'm not coming in.
Schlobaum.
He's like, what? I'm like, I'm dancing. There's girls, it's warm. I was like in the winter league of soccer in Sonoma. Back then in Sonoma, it actually snowed. Not anymore, but that's another subject. But this was like 1978. So Saturday Night Fever had just come out, Grease, these movies where it was all of a sudden,
Staying Alive, all that, yeah.
Yeah, thanks to, what was his name?
John Travolta.
John Travolta, thank you very much. It was okay for guys to dance, and not that I really had any kind of a peer group. I wasn't in school at this point. I stopped going to school. I was 13, 7th grade, what's that? 13?
13.
13. So I wasn't in school. I was working mostly like kind of full time. So I took dance classes for a year in Sonoma, and my jazz teacher sat me down. She said, tomorrow, there's an audition for the San Francisco Ballet School, and you should go. I'm like, I've had 4 ballet classes. What are you talking about? And I don't even know what that is. What's a San Francisco Ballet? I really actually said that. What's a San Francisco Ballet? I've been to the city maybe 4 or 5 times. Maybe more than that, but you're this big, you don't know, you know. And I was gonna have to, like, if I got the scholarship, I was gonna have to go to the city like every day. Or at least it started off to be 3 or 4 days a week. And then after that, I went the next day. I'm cutting the story short. My mom drops me off outside, takes off. She's going to go to the museum show that she was interested in. I go in, and I'm like at the desk. I'm here for the audition.
All by yourself.
All by myself. I'm in awkward 14 zit face, you know. and I've had my armed with my 4 ballet classes, and they're like, that was yesterday. I'm like, oh. Well, what do I do?
Oh, no.
They're like, well, I guess, they're like, well, how long you been dancing? I'm like, for a year, but I've only had 4 ballet classes. They're like, ugh. There's a class starting soon that is your age group, but you're not going to be able to handle it. So go in. I'm like, super confident.
Right.
Go in there, and I was out of my league. I was way done. But I had good feet. I still have great feet.
Yeah, amazing
I had
feet.
a good rhythm. I had no vocabulary.
Were you flexible? Because you're
No,
quite
I'm flexible now, but
yeah,
I
you're
was not flexible then. I was really, really tight. I was a soccer player.
Yeah.
So, no, it took me 6 years of stretching every day to get the splits. I didn't get the splits till I was 19. And, but every day in front of the TV. I wasn't watching Carol Burnett, but yeah, we it was more like Hogan's Heroes.
Right.
Stretching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
And, yeah.
Lying in bed
So I got the
with phone
scholarship
books,
with,
tapes.
with some of these amazing teachers that were like original, like Anatoly Vilzak was.
Wait. So you got
I got into the school. I didn't get a scholarship. I
Okay.
got into the school.
From that class.
They let me in, but they put me in with the 9-year-olds.
Yeah.
So I had to go down to San Francisco 3 and 4 days a week. It was like first started off like Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday all
That
day.
was before BART.
And before BART. So I had to take Golden Gate Transit, which was 2.5 hours each way on the bus. Because it gets off at every exit, stops. Gets off at every exit. Gets off at San Rafael, then you got to wait for a transfer, go there.
So what
wait for
time
another
did you
transfer.
wake up in the morning?
I would get up, if I had to be there like at 9, I had to get up at 5. And a lot of the times there was this family that lived across Sonoma, across town, that would give me a ride to Petaluma to get to the bus to get a 6 a.m. bus to get to the city for a 9 a.m. class. A lot of times my mom would give me a ride to Petaluma, or sometimes, very rarely, my dad would sometimes pick me up. And then
Ladies and gentlemen, he's 13 years old
I was 14, yeah.
with this discipline.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So I would ride my bike across town at 5 a.m. to get to the thing, and I wouldn't get home till 10 o'clock at night. I
Right.
wasn't eating. I should have been 6 foot tall, but I was malnourished as a kid, taking 21 ballet classes a week. Oh, and then I'm in there for like a month and a half. They said, oh, so you're going to be the prince in the Nutcracker. I'm like, I don't know what that is. They're like,
Right.
it's the lead. You're on stage the whole time. So we're going to need you here every day for rehearsals. I'm like, every day? Okay. So that financially, this is a big burden on me. It's like $2.85 on the bus each way, and I'm making $2 an hour when I'm working. So I have to be there every day. I don't get to work. So I'm staying on people's couches. I'm basically living in San Francisco at San Francisco Ballet in 1979. This is like Harvey Milk time.
Wow.
It's an extremely gay environment. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just really hard on a 14-year-old who's never seen anything like that at all. And it's not like they weren't extremely aggressive. So there's that whole conversation that could be had as well. But I'm not even going to talk
The
about
Me
that.
Too movement on young boys.
Ooh, I had to come
Yeah.
out straight. One of my good friends was like, so you literally had to come out straight? I'm like, yeah, actually I did, because it was like all my peers and all my authority figures were all gay. And oddly enough, the gay ones weren't the ones that were hitting on me. The ones that were straight were the ones like my bosses. I got a job at a doctor's office, like for orthopedic surgeons. I was a file clerk. They all hit on me. And like, seriously, I could have really sued Dr. Calendar big time. I probably should X out his name, but literally he's like,
He's dead.
Meet me after work, son. I'll impale you.
Let me crack you.
Let me
Wow.
investigate you, because I wasn't walking well, because I was in 21 ballet classes a week and forcing my turnout. They beat us with sticks back then.
Yes.
That shit don't fly nowadays.
Yes. I got
Literally
beaten
beating
with
me
sticks in
yeah.
ballet as well.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it was incredible training. I got some of the most unbelievable teachers. Larry Grenier, Daniel Job from Royal Danish and Bejar. I mean, these teachers that were just like from all. There was, Richard Kamek from ABT. There were Zola Deschamps was my first real teacher there. She was from ABT, SAB, and San Francisco Ballet. She was incredible. She's still incredible. Contra Costa Ballet. And
Unbelievable.
Anatoly Vilzak was Pavlova's partner. He ran the school at Mariinsky Ballet in the 20s.
Wow.
And he was in his 90s then, in the 70s. And he was still teaching. And I got to take class from this man, who was with Diaghilev, who was with the Ballet
of
Russe.
course.
It was like, that's from the source.
That's the real
This
deal.
is the source.
That's
Nijinsky,
exactly
he
right.
danced with
Yeah,
Nijinsky
great.
and Pavlova.
Yeah.
Wow.
The lineage,
Or
the
Danilova,
pedigree.
Danilova, sorry.
The pedigree is amazing. Well, but I love that. That's there's so many charlatans around now. You were at a time when it's just incredible
Yeah.
pedigree.
No, there's
and
only one
training.
passe. It's that one position, you hit that position, and that's not your variation of the passe. It's connected, it's turned out from the hip. You're like, la, 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 la. I could go on forever about that too, but anyways. This whole time I'm taking jazz classes still from Lynn, and from Lynn, my teacher had taken me to San Francisco to her teacher, Anne Marie Garvin, who was a big jazz dance legend in Northern California, in San Francisco, and she had started this show. She bought a theater and put on a show called Dance Between the Lines. Lynn was in the show. I auditioned for it, for the original cast. I was 15. That's a little too young. Didn't get the show. But
bet
all
you
my
got- I bet you-
friends
I bet you-
from the studio that I was taking class
I
at,
bet you got close.
3 or 4 days a week, as much as I could afford, because it was $6 a class. That's a lot. I was going there, and I'd watch the show. I'd go, and they'd let me in without a ticket, because it was $17.95 for dinner and a show back then. They were incredible. They ran the theater. They cooked the food, served it, ran the bar, the box office, the lights, the sound, everything.
It's the whole barn dance idea.
So when I was 15, I got a lease. I was living in San Francisco. I had like 8 roommates or something. It was just like musical house, musical, whatever, 1 bathroom. And still going to San Francisco Ballet School, doing the whole thing, doing the performances. Since there was only like 6 or 8 guys in the school, I was learning all kinds of the choreography, Romeo and Juliet, Songs for Dead Warriors, all kinds of different, like the backup parts, you know what I mean? I got to be a supernumerary for Stuttgart Ballet with Marcia Haiti and Richard Cragen, doing triple tours on stage. Unbelievable, getting exposed to this type of athleticism and artistry all in one. She was, Marcia Haiti was, Taming of the Shrew was like, she was incredible. I got to watch it every night. So cool. I was only for a few weeks, but they still owe me money. San Francisco Ballet took my money for that.
Now, with compound interest.
Right? Speaking of investments.
Anyways, I finally got the show, Dance Between the Lines, when I was 16, and got to be in that show. And I left the ballet school because I was madly in love with this show, with this style of jazz. It was so difficult. It was so specific. It was so right on. It
difficult.
was so hard.
What, like Luigi? What kind of style?
Jack Cole.
Jack Cole.
Jack
Jack
Cole, Ronnie
Cole.
Lewis.
Lots
It
of
was,
turns, lots of contractions,
Line, contraction, groundwork.
shoulders,
Choreographed to the
groundwork.
pinky nail,
Yeah.
choreographed down to the button, and all kinds of props. And I was one of the people that was in charge of getting the props here and there, because we had no backstage. There was no crossover behind the back
Right,
wall.
right.
So we had to store everything, and the show's dynamics backstage were just incredible. That was my college education. I worked there. I was there from 16, 17, 18. I quit when I was 18 to move to LA.
And that was in 84?
That was in 83.
83.
So I quit the show, I saved up all the money that I had, I bought a 69 Dodge Dart Swinger, and I knew one person in Laguna Beach. Was like kind of like an uncle, like a dear brother uncle guy. And so I stayed with him for a few weeks. I don't remember exactly how long, but I know I still owe him money for telephone calls I made to San Francisco. And I think there's that Talking Heads tape that I owe him. It was like a cassette tape of the Talking Heads. I think I borrowed it and never gave it back. And I apologize, John.
Burning down the house.
Yeah, totally. Anyways, came down here, lived in that car for a while, couldn't find a place to live. Finally, I was at Dupre's, and the first Dupre Dance Academy was like the most, between Dupre's and Tremaine's, the 2 most popular dance academies at the time. Dupre closed late 80s. It was a beautiful space. There were incredible teachers there. My first class in LA was Jackie Slight's Invitational Jazz 5, was supposedly the hardest class in town. I wasn't invited, but I went anyway because I walk in the door and I see 2 people who I knew from San Francisco who were on scholarship at Dupre's. They were from San Francisco, they were modern dancers, and we had just done a commercial together up there, which I lucked out in because I got my SAG card before I moved to LA. I did a SAG commercial up there
Brilliant.
with Nancy Gregory was the choreographer,
Yeah.
and Cheryl Baxter of all people.
Fantastic.
Was the only person from LA that they'd flown up to assist Nancy Gregory to be in the commercial. So I
Fantastic.
got this commercial. It was for Mellow Yellow with the Greg Kinn band. It never played, I don't think, because I never got a residual. But it doesn't matter. I got my SAG card. I paid $632 to join SAG at that time. Now it's what, $4 grand or something?
Something like
It was pretty lucky and awesome time. Came to LA, took Jackie's Jazz 5 because Frank and Arlene, my friends, recommended it. And I was one of those, that was back when Jackie would like pull people out from the class to do it the last time and say like, this is how it's supposed to be done. It was me and Eddie Garcia and Victor Manuel that she picked to do that combination. And I was in. I was addicted, I was hooked. Her style was so different from what I'd done. The lines and the technique were somewhat. I'd never done pirouettes pulled up before that were parallel. I'd never done, and Eddie Garcia pirouetted his age in that class. He was 14 and did 14 pirouettes in class.
He can still do it.
Parallel, and he can
and he's
still do
50.
it. And he's 50. He's
pirouette
one of the most amazing dancers. We got to have this guy on this.
No,
Absolutely
definitely.
amazing.
He's good.
Yeah. Anyways, so I knew I had a lot of work to do, a long way to go. But Jackie hired me a lot actually. She was like one of the only ones because I was living in my car. I was showering at Debbie Reynolds Studios or at Dupre's, sleeping in the farmer's market parking lot because they would lock the gates and the cops couldn't get you. Hey, smart. I was a smart
Totally
kid, right?
smart.
So you didn't
Because
have,
with that billy club tapping on the windshield in the middle of the night, going, "Hey man, move along."
but
boy."
you didn't have to pay for parking back then.
No, there was a B. Dalton bookstore. You know what bookstores are? They were these stores that sold books. You know what a book is? It's like a paper.
No.
Yeah.
You're getting too
Right?
deep now.
Sorry. There was a bookstore, and it was in the middle of the parking lot. It was separate from the farmer's market. And I would go around, and I would late at night I would go into the bookstore until they closed, and I'd buy a couple of books because there was like a return section or a damaged book section. You get them for $0.25, and that's all I did. That's how I got my education. I never went to high school. I never went to college. I just read. That's all I did. I just
Nathan
read
never
everything I could
stopped
read.
reading.
And,
You're an amazing
just
inspiration
started
that way.
that's how I knew I knew I was going to be behind in life if I didn't read stuff, and I'm still behind in life, but at least I read a lot of stuff, you know. So I would park behind the B. Dalton bookstore, which was, like I said, separate from the farmer's market and all that stuff. And the security guards, they didn't really have security back then. They would just lock up. See you later. And you would be locked in for the whole night, but I didn't care. I had water and, some bread probably. Knowing me, had French bread and some salami.
So
And,
you need.
still malnourished, you know.
Poor guy.
Hilarious. Yeah, I wonder why I had yeast infection.
Oh, just TMI, baby.
Candida
TMI.
Royale.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
goodness.
So yeah, I started working for a bit and did okay. Had some roommates, got an apartment. Went on a downward spiral. Couldn't book anything. Was living in my car again. My car broke down. Lost the car. Living on the street.
No.
I can't remember his name. Oh man, I wish I knew his name. He had like $4, and we got gas to go up to Debbie Reynolds Studios to go to a Grover Dale audition. Nobody knew who Grover Dale was back then. He was from New York choreographer, big choreographer, original
Hi,
cast
Grover.
of West Side Story. Hi, Grover. Gave me one of my first big jobs in LA. It was a Pontiac industrial tour. He'd been doing it for so long, he could see how desperate I was. And he gave me this job. He knew I couldn't really sing. He knew I could dance like a motherfucker, but I couldn't. We needed to sing, and I learned how to sing on the job, and learned how to tap on the job too. He hired me, but I still didn't have a place to live, and so we rehearsed in the Methodist Church parking lot on Highland and Franklin. And so I lived in the parking lot and would shower in the church, and after first paycheck, got my car fixed, and put my back out. All kinds of crazy stuff on that job. I was kind of stressed, I guess.
Just a little bit.
We had a great time on the tour. It was 8 weeks of a tour for an industrial tour.
That's amazing.
Wow.
I know, 2 months.
Where
Got
did you-
I
where
had
did
some
you
money.
tour?
Oh, it was like Knoxville, and we went to Vegas.
wow.
We went to Chicago. We went to all these places I'd never been before. It was fantastic. I was 18 years old or 19 years old, something like that. 84, 83, 84, 85. I can't
Summer
remember.
stock.
Totally. It was great. And getting paid equity, so I got to join equity. through that.
Brilliant.
Came home, put everything I owned in a basket. I had one of those, the laundry basket, got on a Greyhound bus and went back to San Francisco with my tail between my legs and did that show for another 6 months to save up some more money.
Dance Between the
Dance
Lines
Between the
and
Lines.
Garvin show.
That show came, Emery Garvin decided she was going to bring it to LA. She was going to take it to the Roxy Theater on Sunset of all places. Bad choice. Because that was a hair band.
Right.
Yeah, rock
venue.
and roll, baby.
Totally
They're
rock
like,
and roll.
because we were answering the phone. Hi, is Rat playing tonight? No, it's Dance Between the Lines.
Yes.
Hi. What's Dance Between a Lines? So we ran there for like 6 weeks. Anne-Marie lost her ass, lost her theater in San Francisco because we lost all of her money, and we closed. But the good thing of it was, for me personally, Steve Merritt came to see the show, He said, you want to do Pontiac Industrial this year? I was like, yeah, I just did it last year. He's like, you're booked. Count on it.
Fantastic.
I was like, okay. During the Pontiac Industrial, he's like, I got this Chippendales show. No, I got this other show we're going to do. And while we were rehearsing for that,
Dream Street.
Dream Street, that's what it was, Dream Street.
Dream Street that went to Vegas.
That went to, it had been in Vegas. I did it in Atlantic City.
Okay.
For 6 weeks in like September of that year, which was fantastic.
Amazing.
Making $600 a week was like bankeroni, man. It was fantastic.
So many
with
great
Michael
people.
Fullerton, who we were just talking about.
Peggy Holmes.
Peggy Holmes. I mean, she didn't
Leslie
do that show,
Mogel.
but it was Tommy Adcox, Victor Manuel in this version of it, and some great singers. Great show. I learned a lot.
Linda Burnaby.
Linda Talcott. Oh my goodness, what a great dancer. Anyways, came back from that, and I was doing this other show, rehearsing with Bob Talmadge for an industrial, and Steve sees me at Debbie Reynolds Studios and says, I want you to do Chippendales. We need you tonight. I was like, I'm in rehearsal for this. He's like, well, you have a lunch hour, don't you? Michael Fullington teaches me the Chippendales show in a lunch hour. 1 hour to learn the whole show, no dress rehearsal, go on stage that night. Boom. Bank. Done.
And you do it.
And I did that show for a year.
And you got to do
Great.
it.
And then I met this guy, which was
right.
legendary.
That's right.
When we'd go like to Denver, on Mondays and Tuesdays, we would go to Denver,
Every week.
Phoenix, or San Francisco.
Right.
And we do the show 5 nights a week here at the original Chippendales
They
Club.
had shows in Denver, Phoenix.
They would
put
buy
us
out
at the-
theaters.
Yeah. At like the
We
music-
were at the Circle Star,
Circle
Theater,
Star Theater.
in Northern
like,
California.
Northern
It's a
California.
big theater.
Yeah.
And they would sell it out to these thousands of women
girls.
that would come in for the Chippendale show. And
Right.
we were the backup
We would
dancers.
have so much fun.
We were fully clothed, but we would assist the guys in their
Yeah,
strips.
get the girls going. Go
Pretty
to Denver,
amazing.
Phoenix, or San Francisco, and it was party times. It was the mid-'80s. It was crazy.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I just want to touch on one more thing before. Nathan, you've been one of the people that I've looked up to as far as maintaining your instrument, your body. You've had more breakdowns than a 66 Chevelle. But what has been, I guess, what can you tell the younger generation now about knees, ankles, hips, back, and what you've learned, how to prevent, how to heal, how to maintain? Right?
Yeah. Okay. So that's a huge subject. So, yes,
It is a huge subject.
My career, this is my 41st year dancing. 40 years dancing, professionally for almost 40. The majority of
years.
it,
40 years.
and I'm still dancing. I've done like 10 gigs in the last year or so. All of it on concrete. Almost all of it. I would say 90% to 95% of my career has been on concrete. Not like a ballet star, which spends their entire career on a sprung dance floor designed for dance. No one on the sidelines going, oh, where does it hurt? You know, you get
Where's my
hurt.
physical therapy?
You get hurt. Dance through it. What are we told? Dance through it. Dance through the pain, right?
That's his new show.
Right? Dance through the pain. Oh my goodness. So this is a great question. The more you know about your body, the better you can heal it. I've studied acupuncture. I've studied massage therapy. I've been a Pilates instructor.
Kinesiology.
I've studied kinesiology. I've studied how the body functions, how the body works, and I've made some big mistakes in my life, in my dance-wise. Dance when I'm too tired, hungover,
Not warmed up properly.
emotionally
Not warmed up.
not warmed up. Yeah, you can't just do the Advil warm up and then think you're going to go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? If you know the gig is going to be really easy, then sometimes it's better to not warm up too much because you can get too flexible and too crazy. Never do something in rehearsal that you don't want to perform 70 times for the camera. Okay? Never show off in rehearsal. That's a big one. The more prepared you can be on all of those levels, the longer your longevity will be, and the less price you'll have to pay when you get older. I'm paying a huge price daily now because I do a lot more things than just dance now. I wish I could still just dance, but I do construction. I was a Steadicam operator. I've been a DP, grip, a gaffer.
Really physically
All really
taxing.
physical, yeah.
Indeed.
And I'm bone on bone in a couple of joints. This MTP joint is frozen. The metatarsal phalangeal joint frozen, doesn't bend, doesn't move. So releve is not really a thing for me anymore. But I can still pirouette on that foot. I can't do on this one. This ankle is shot because it's just over. It's like a wobbly. It's like this. This ankle. But yeah, I danced a little harder than a lot of my compatriots.
A lot
and
harder.
a lot longer.
A lot harder.
And that was a choice as well, because it felt really good. And I wish I could still do that, because it was fun. That was really fun.
Indeed.
Yeah, I can't stress enough learning about the body. You know, dance translates into a lot of things. A lot of our generation has translated their dance careers into health. Mike is teaching Pilates full time, and there's a lot of people that I know that are physical therapists and personal trainers and yada yada, because we understand the body so much, and because we're not given credit for that, because we're just
Robots.
we're just
doing
robots.
somebody else's
We're
movement.
just background noise. No, we actually are artists that have to take a very specific, be very aware and specifically aware of our bodies and what they're doing, and the more committed to our art we are, the more we will study those things. I know you take the average dancer and they can tell you more about the human body than most other professions. I would venture to conjecture.
For sure.
Yeah.
And there's those times where you do want to show off for a new choreographer or something.
For sure.
But be very careful. Number one, that you're able to repeat that show off. You know, like you said, you want to do it 60 times in front of camera. Number two, as a new dancer, not to be pressured into doing movement that you don't feel comfortable and safe with.
Safe.
And
yeah.
comfort, you're not always comfortable, but
Right.
safe, you need to be safe. Especially in partner work. Especially in
Absolutely.
partner work.
It's not even really taught nowadays, is it?
I don't know. I've had partners where they were,
Ballroom is taught for sure, but
it can be a joy to be lifting a partner, or a real drudge. And it's about the connection of the partner, it's about the training of the partner and how they can lift themselves.
And communicating with
communicating.
respect
You can lift
too,
a
because
feather, you can
you're
lift a
a
sack
team
of
as well.
doorknobs.
Yeah, but you also can't be belligerent to your partner either. That's the other thing as well. Because I
Not at
look at a lot of
all.
partners now. I see a lot of guys or girls giving attitude to each other.
And
You see
blaming
it,
each
and blaming-
other,
No, you got to come
it's
together.
not that.
It's not that at all, and you'll never get through it otherwise. Because you're right. Because there's going to be some movement there for either one of you that's going to maybe catch in a bad way. It's going to affect you. So if you got to talk to you, say, hey, I need a bit more support here, or can you not be? Can you be a bit more on your leg on that part? You know, it's always about that, but not.
or
putting
is
each
there a
other
way
down.
I can help you to be more on your leg on this part? Because it's hurting my back when I
Exactly.
I know that I'm not putting you in the right spot.
Yeah.
It's about those
But
kind of
also,
politics.
too, one thing I wanted to touch on about talking about our generation of dancers and all the injuries and everything that we've had. This generation of dancers, I don't think they tend to. It's not very au courant or chic to hit things as hard as we did.
Oh no, it's not. I
You
don't
know,
think
and they
so
almost
either.
frown. Oh, you're giving too much.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and they looked at. No, I've got that so
Oh,
many
yeah.
times.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different
My
mindset.
marking is
you
your
know.
full out.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I make that joke all the time
No.
with kids I'm working with, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's funny." I'm
Yeah.
like, not really.
No, it's
kinda
true.
sad,
It's
actually.
true. But I mean, my point is,
Should I bring my marking down to match
Yeah.
your full out?
You know, the point, I guess, is you see this bit, they're disconnected from the audience. And as an audience member, if you're not engaged, then why should I be engaged?
Right.
But when you see someone give their heart and they just give so much of them, all of a sudden I'm like, oh my, there's a reciprocity there. And it's not narcissistic. This is all too much about me and how cool I am. And if you look like you don't care, then why should I care?
Right, and that's that nonchalance that's permeated the coolness factor that's permeated the movement of today, that the audience doesn't get the same charge and connection to the performance on stage, and they're not being brought into that journey of the artistic, experience.
I completely
What is it?
agree, and I also think that a lot of the choreographers nowadays don't see the larger picture. Like if you're in an audience, the larger picture meaning if you're back up here in the audience, all they see is this,
Right. A mob
formations,
moving, right.
that kind of thing. It's not all about all this little intricate movement. That's only the front 3 rows can see that. And all your little facial expressions and stuff that you're going to make. Oh, you're so hot, you're so hot, you're so hot. Yes, you are. And you have to perform that way for the first 3 rows. But anything back further than that, all they're seeing is formations. So make it so the choreographers need to be aware of this as well. And it doesn't mean a line change every once in a while.
No. Yeah,
Well, I'm going to go over here and dance. Then I'm going to go over here and dance. No. Yeah, it's
Well, it's come to that
Yeah.
time,
So
unfortunately.
you guys want to make sure that we want to invite you to ask us questions or comment on anything we've said, or if you have ideas or stories, share with us. We'd love to share with our audience. Feel free to email us at theshuffleandflow@gmail.com or check out our YouTube channel at theshuffleandflow@youtube.com. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time. Ciao. Be kind to each other. Awesome, guys.